Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to my show. You're here with me. This is Balanced Life. I'm your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle. I thank you for joining me today. I highlight guests that are in the world of health and wellness and coming at us with the absolute best information so you can live the healthiest life possible. So they're all experts in their field. We've got a great show for you today. Before we get started, I want to let you know that I am a health and wellness coach and that I help people find balance in their life with everything that we need to connect to be strong, healthy, and work in those day-to-day little stresses and things that come at us. So one of the ways that you can get in touch with me and work with me, I give free introductory sessions, is to go to my Facebook, or not my Facebook page, my website, which is balancelifebydebbie.com. That's BALANCEDLIFE by Debbie, DEBI.com. All the information is there, and there's a place to get in touch with me. I love to hear from you. I also am going to invite you, if you're not already there, to my Balanced Life Facebook page, where you can make a comment about the shows that I do, or you can ask a question. You can join my Facebook private group. I'd love to have you involved with that as well. And again, I thank you for joining today, and I want you to become part of the conversation. So the way to do that is to call us. So here's the number. Write this down if you can, 323-524-2599. And as we go along, if you have a question or a comment, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead and just chime in. If you can't do it because you're at work or you're busy and you're watching the show after the fact, then go to my Facebook page, Balanced Life by Debbie, make a comment, ask a question, and we'll get back to you after the show. All right, let's get to our introduction right now. So we're going to flip over to our introduction. There are thousands of chemicals inundating our lives and wreaking havoc on our bodies. We need to watch what we eat. We need to be aware of the air we breathe in our home. We need to pay attention to labels and what we put onto our skin. Cancer-causing carcinogenics are everywhere and require education in order to become toxic-free. By reducing your exposure to chemicals, you can also decrease your chances of developing other illnesses and eliminate headaches, migraines, rashes, runny noses, itchy eyes, sore throats, wheezing, and hives. My guest today is Therese Forton Barnes. She is an environmental toxins health coach and the head guru at the Green Living Gurus. She's an activist and an educator, and she's spreading the awareness of chemical exposure that could cause cancer and other illnesses. She helps families and individuals worried about cancer by identifying carcinogens and other harmful chemicals in their lives and homes that potentially cause cancer and so much more. She teaches the Cancel Cancer Method, which solves chemical confusion. She also solves chemical confusion and makes it easier to find safe and healthy products. So let's see what we can learn today to make our lives safer and less toxic too. So will you please welcome my guest to the show, Therese Forton Barnes. Hi, Therese.
Hey, Debbie, how are you?
Good, how are you? Let's go to a two-shot. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here today. I really, as you know, love what you're doing. I think it's important. I think it is overlooked and missed in some cases. In many cases, we go to things like food and exercise and sleep, which are highly important, but the air, our environment, what we put on ourselves, all of these things are really vital to understand and to know. And I love that you highlight them, you point them out, that they're just as important. So I thank you again. I'm going to call you T because that's your nickname and what you like to be called. So for here on out. And I'd like to always get started with the story because what I find from all my guests and podcasting now on 5 years is that there's always a story behind what brought them to do what they're doing today in the health and wellness world. And that's not necessarily true for other kind of jobs and careers. But in health and wellness, I always find somebody has had a story behind it that got them sitting in this seat and why they're wanting to get the word out to the bigger population. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to what you do today.
Sure, thank you, and thank you for having me. So I am born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I still live here, moved away a little bit, but came back. And I was brought up eating organic food. Fresh food was always on the table. I didn't really know what processed food was or McDonald's. I mean, I knew what McDonald's was, but we really came home to fruit and vegetables and not anything out of a box. And when I went to high school, I was just perplexed by all this. And then when I went to college, I decided I was going to college to open up a health food supermarket, because back then, now I'm talking about the 80s, back then, the only place that we shop was this little corner little health food market, the Lexington Co-op. And I wanted to open up a supermarket. And everybody knows that supermarket today as Whole Foods. So they beat me to the punch, but I had a whole business plan for that. But I came out of Ithaca College as a party planner and an event planner, and I diverted into another field that I absolutely fell in love with. And I've had an event and party planning business for 35 years. But through those 35 years, I have been helping people detox their homes and get rid of chemicals out of their house, and especially cancer patients. And it's really near and dear to my heart because my aunt died of, who was like a second mother to me, died of ovarian cancer back right when I graduated from college. And I've had, of course, as we all have had, other relatives, friends, and people that I know that have had passed away from cancer or who have had cancer. And throughout the past 35 years, it's really been a mission of mine to really get back into what I really went to college for, was to help people learn about all these chemicals that are out there that are causing health issues for so many people and wreaking havoc on so many people's lives, and specifically cancer, because that's really what I have focused on. And in 2020, just prior to the pandemic, I decided that's it. I've planned over 700 events in 35 years. I have taken it to the level I wanted to take it to, and I'm ready to pivot. Well, it was perfect timing for me because I was home for a year and I just pivoted as fast as I possibly could. I took everything I had learned and knew about in the past 35 years, because I was continuously studying and taking courses on healthy living and getting certified. And so 2020 was actually good for me in a weird way, that it really got me to be where I really wanted to be with my business called Green Living Gurus. So now I'm an environmental health toxins coach, and I help people get rid of these horrible chemicals, horrible carcinogens that are surrounding them continuously, and they don't know about it. And as I say, it's basically learning, power of learning, and the knowledge is power. That once people start understanding it and realizing it, they start to make changes in their lifestyles, which ultimately makes changes in their health.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. That's why I think I mentioned it in the introduction, that education, people need to get educated on this kind of thing. And this is one thing, again, that isn't the go-to, the first thing to grab onto when you think of health and wellness. Right away, you just think of weight and you think of how to get weight off, obviously food and exercise. And then all the other things kind of trickle down. But I find it very eluding. People just don't realize what is in the air, what the products that we buy, that we put on us and that we spray around us, that we wash our dishes with, those all accumulatively have an effect on our health. And so I love that we can dig into it today to really help people educate themselves, and get started for their own lives. I like your story too. I knew,
thank you.
and
a lot of good party planning stories.
Yeah, I bet. And the thing is, I have friends in the event industry, and when the pandemic hit, they were in shock. They froze. Their business froze. Their bodies physically froze. Their finances froze. They were really worried about how this was going to come back and when and how they would pick up all the loss that they had. And you, prior to the pandemic, had already made a decision and already set yourself up to do this pivot, which could be done without planning an event. You know what I mean? You don't personally have to be there. So you actually the universe was really watching your back right there. And
very much so. Yeah, it was odd. Yeah.
Your timing. And people like you are needed, are really, there is a need, because when people start going down that sort of rabbit hole of why am I sick? What's going on? I'm eating right. I'm sleeping. I'm exercising. I've done all the tests for my thyroid. I've done all the blood work, but something's going on in my body that I'm missing. Someone like you and being educated to find out that it could be environmental or something they're putting on their skin is, so paramount to understand and know. So what are some of the ways that what are the first and foremost sort of obvious things that we should know about toxins to get started? The more vital ones, the big ones.
Right. And it's overwhelming. And I try to let everybody know that you just take baby steps, because there are over 80,000 chemicals. Obviously, I and nobody can know about all these chemicals, but there's only 11 that are banned in the United States. So that just goes to show you how many chemicals are out there. So there are some that are just, you read the ingredient and you avoid them. We know they cause cancer. They're still on the market and they are known to cause cancer. So the biggest ones, there's the biggest area when I come in someone's house, or if I'm on I do a lot of this remotely. Some of the biggest areas I first focus on is the air quality in their house. What could they be breathing in all day long, sleeping in all day long, that could be causing illnesses? Because our indoor air is 2 to 5 times more polluted than our outdoor air. And people don't understand that's a huge crisis actually right now. And that these homes are also being built, that these windows are airtight. And we want people to open up windows.
Yeah.
Now I live in Buffalo, New York. I open up my window in the winter because I know how important it is to get fresh air into your house.
Right.
So yeah, it's a big issue.
What's the most obvious thing interior-wise, or the biggest, first and foremost thing that you find that is, causing toxicity?
Laundry detergent.
Laundry detergent. Interesting.
Laundry detergent is so toxic, and so now, not all laundry detergent, right? Mm-hmm. Many laundry detergent. I'd say probably 85 to 95% of the laundry detergents out there, even though they say fragrance free, or there's keywords on there that they put on there that they're not, that they don't have certain ingredients, but they are. What happens with laundry detergent? Not only are you washing your clothes in them, and then you're
wearing your clothes.
Sheets. Yeah. Yes. Then you're breathing them in all day long when they're on your clothes. They are in your vents. So those chemicals are releasing from your dryer into your house. And you're consistently breathing them in all day long in your house. And of course, the last part is you are polluting the outdoor air with these chemicals that are being pushed out through your vents outside as well. So we don't want to forget about Mother Nature either. But laundry detergent is the first thing I always look at in someone's house, because it's just causing so much havoc on your breathing, and you're taking it in.
That is so what a revelation. That's so, I mean, I think I'm one of the few people that uses, my daughter does too. I'm a grandmother now, 8 months ago, and I'm so neurotic about what my daughter is doing around the baby, both inside, what laundry detergent she uses, products, clothes, cleaning things constantly with good, healthy products. I'm so neurotic. I didn't realize I'm so more neurotic in her home than I am in mine. But I've been using this, free laundry detergent for a long time. And luckily, my daughter picked up on that and now is educated enough to use it with her family. But I don't think the average person does, because I walk by and I can smell, through the vents, all the bad fabric, these products like Febreze and, and they're trying to, get rid of odor because you don't want to smell that. Well, it's better to smell a burnt hot dog than it is to smell the fumes from Febreze. And, this marketing stuff is really difficult.
Very difficult. And they know what they're doing. And they're multi-million-dollar companies that know keywords that they're putting on these products that are making people think that they are okay to use. And lilac flavor or lilac scent or lavender, and everybody thinks, but it's lavender. I'm like, there's no lavender in there.
Yeah.
So the word fragrance is that's probably the number one word I would look at in anything you put on your skin, bring into your house. If it has the word fragrance on it, run the other way. We call that the other F word.
Oh,
and
I love that.
It's loaded with synthetic chemicals. And it's interesting because fragrance is a trade secret. And it was created way back when perfume was coming out. Manufacturers had the ability to conceal their trade secrets. And it's still a law to this day, like that they can still use that word and put any chemical they want into that product, and they under the umbrella of fragrance. So that's a huge loophole.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm telling you, nobody knows about that unless they work with a health practitioner, a health coach, a functional medicine doctor, or somebody like you, because we're just being marketed and we take it for granted. We just put it aside and think, okay, I'm just going to get my clothes clean. But you're really doing a disservice to your health with all this crap that you're putting in. And you have on your website, you break down sort of the culprits, the things to look for, like you just said, like fragrance being the number one, but the really toxic, highly carcinogenic type ingredients, chemicals that you should be reading. I mean, like the number one thing I say to my clients when it comes to food is a label read. But that's not the only place you should be your label reading, right?
Right, absolutely. I'm all about reading your labels and knowing your ingredients, because I never buy anything until you flip that around. Same thing with food, and you know that too, Debbie. You have to look and see what you're eating, because the regulations are so loose,
they're
and
so broad.
specifically so loose in the United States. Like you can buy products here, such as shampoo. It's going to be a different recipe over in the UK, and even in Canada a little bit too, because so many of the chemicals that we allow in the United States into our products are not allowed in the UK or UE. EU, sorry, European Union. So you have to really look at the ingredients. I mean, people send me labels all the time and say, what do you think about this product? Somebody just sent me this one shampoo the other day, and I went through just probably 4 or 5 of the products or the ingredients in there, and told her just a few of them that are in there, and opened up her eyes to some of the ones that are like parabens. Parabens, you'll see paraben free on a lot of labels.
Yeah.
Because that, and you know that, because that's been one chemical that has been targeted as a toxin. And it's listed in 5 different formats: methylparaben, ethylparaben. And it's you just have to start reading the label and looking at some of these ingredients
to understand
understanding them.
That
Google
they're
some of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And people don't see. It does require effort to turn something around, to turn a product around, whether it be food or anything you're putting on your body or around your body or spraying in your home. And reading, it requires that. But people don't want to take the time for that. We're going to come back and discuss. I want to talk a little bit more about environmental and then about products on the skin, but we're going to stop for our break. We're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back. Do not go away. You're going to want to hear this. Highly, highly great information for you to hear. We'll be right back after this message. Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and keyword here, affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there's something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. I've always told my clients that when it comes to diet, it's just not a one-size-fits-all deal. And that's why I always recommend HelloFresh. It's a great way to cook homemade meals with healthy ingredients you love. It is well researched that cooking at home saves money and saves you from gaining any of those unwanted pounds. So go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit. All right, we're back. Speaking of food and healthy food, we're going to get into that. I kind of want to finish up on the interior. We know we should be reading labels. You have a list on your website of the things like the highly really bad contagions that you should be looking for, or contaminants. And what else in the home should we be aware of and be looking for? And what can we do about it? Like, do we get some kind of filtration, or what besides opening a window, which is the first and foremost thing we should do?
Right, absolutely. So the indoor air, I talked about laundry detergent. One other thing I want to mention are candles, which are extremely toxic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's another one. Anything that you are spraying, that you are burning, anything that is bringing any kind of scent into your home, unless it's a natural scent. Essential oils are okay to a degree, but anything that is bringing anything into your home, your cleaning supplies, huge problem, mm-hmm. especially now since the pandemic, because everybody thinks they have to have this sparkling clean, chemical clean house. And the problem is these chemicals are hurting people's immune system. So the cleaning of the house is way overdone with chemicals that are affecting people's immune system, affecting people's health. They can they're chemicals, again, that are getting into your system. You have kids crawling around the floor. They're ingesting them, they're getting on their skin, they're walking on them. So cleaning supplies is a huge, huge issue, and it's become even a bigger issue in the past year, because everybody, thinks they have to have a Clorox sprayed house.
I agree with you. I was saying, yes, we should be sanitizing, but not this way. And I was showing my daughter natural ways, because she had a baby in the middle of a pandemic, right. And it just scared me. Oh, we had a phone call, but it went away. Well, caller, come back. And it gives me a good time to mention, again, if you're just tuning in, that, and we're live, so this is conversations that connect to you, that you can get involved in. We want to hear from you. So give us a call, 323-524-2599. And you can get any question you have answered right now. Well, yes. So I agree that is, it's just so vital, but candles are everywhere because it's atmosphere. People love, the whole, you're watching The Bachelor every week. There's 250 candles around everywhere. Scent is important because the scent is related to sort of your emotional well-being in a way. You smell something that reminds you of something from your childhood that's positive or negative. You want or don't want that scent around. And, there's calming scents at spas and all of that. But you're saying what you have a list on your website of ways that you can get like healthy candles, healthy products, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And, I want to mention while we're talking here, because as best as I know, Environmental Working Group has a great app that you can look up and see what kind of chemicals are in them. So you don't have to Google all those chemicals, and you can see on a scale of 1 to 10 how toxic that product is. Mm-hmm. And then candles wise, there's another organization, nonprofit organization, they both are, and I'm so thankful to both of them, is Made Safe. And madesafe.org is another organization that they certify products. And there is a candle on the Made Safe website that they certify called Fontana. So I love what both of those organizations do. They're our watchdog. We can only do so much. It's hard for the general public. It's even hard for me sometimes. So I'm so thankful for both of those organizations. So if you
that they do the work for us and make it easy for us to access. I know my daughter, she the first app that you mentioned, she uses it. I don't actually have it downloaded. I just look things up as I go along, but that is a really good idea because she uses it, and I think there are ratings also on there of products, and she'll say, oh, don't use that shampoo or don't use this detergent because the rating is this. Our caller is back. We're going to go to our caller right now. Are they there? Hi, caller. Are you there?
Hi, yes.
Hi, what's your name and where are you calling from? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
My name is Maria. I'm calling from New York.
Okay. Hi, Maria. Thanks for joining us today. Do you have a comment or a question for T or myself?
Yes, I do. I have a question in regards to, I have been, reading ingredients and labels and things like that, and trying to reduce my toxic load in my body. And I was just wondering if there's anything I can do in addition to reading ingredients and not buying those products to reduce a possible buildup that I've had previous to this of chemicals in my body.
Good question.
So how could I reduce? Thank you.
That's a good one. What would you say to Maria T about that?
It's a great question because a lot of people ask that because they worry like they put all these toxic chemicals in their body and can you get rid of them? And the answer is yes, you can. And there's ways to get rid of them. There's actually been studies out there. They took this family that had not eaten any organic food, tested their chemical load, all the different chemicals that were in their body, from pesticides to herbicides to you name it. And they put them on a 2-week organic diet. And then they retested them. So all organic food, nothing processed. And all of those chemical levels came way down. And many of them were cancer-causing chemicals. So on that note, eat as much organic food as you possibly can, because you are not eating the herbicides and the pesticides that they are spraying on all of these the produce out
all
there.
the produce. Yeah.
Yep,
That's huge.
So that's huge. And it's so many of these nasty pesticides are affecting women's hormones. Yes,
Roundup is not maybe being called Roundup, but it is everywhere in non-organic food. So eating organic is like the number one thing, because eating food is the number one way a toxin can get in your body, because you absorb it the quickest when it goes through your digestive tract and your bloodstream. But things that are in the home and in our environment and things that we put on our skin, is that true for that too? Should, get to know the dangers of your products, and then if you eliminate them, will that also leave your body?
Absolutely. I was going to mention that as well, because anything that you're ingesting or anything you're putting on your skin, your lotions, your hairsprays, your lipstick, your makeup, deodorant, I don't want to leave the men out, your cologne, your shaving cream, anything you are putting on your skin is going into your bloodstream, going into your body. So the more natural products you can use, the better for your toxic load, for sure. And that is, so anything you eat or breathe, think about your senses. So anything you're eating, you're breathing, you're touching, anything that you are coming in contact with, the more you can decrease your toxic load, the better, because you walk outside your door, you can't do anything about your toxic load, but inside your house, you have all the choices to make, and you have so many things that are available to you that are low toxic or non-toxic.
Yeah, that's so true. So, that's a good sort of lesson here. I always tell my clients, no matter where they've been and what their issue is, it's never too late. No matter, how old they are, there's always an excuse. Oh, I'm too old to start now. Never too late to change for the better and to try to find the healthy way out. And to know that that's true about things that you've been using on your body, around your house, on your, things that you've been breathing and using to clean your house with, that if you take that out, things can turn around. And the thing is, there are so many things that are out of our control that I think knowing that there are the things that we can take control of, like you said, indoors, in our own home, we should be doing. Because the things that are out of our control, we're getting those toxins anyway, so we don't want to add to them. We want to take, and having control is one of the biggest things in every situation that we strive for as humans. We don't want to seem out of control. Did that answer your question for you, Maria?
Yes. Definitely. I'm glad to know I can continue on my detoxifying. And I was just wondering, is there more toxins in one fruit than another, or as far as buying organic, is there something or should I just try to, sometimes you just can't buy all organic. Is there some things that may be more toxic than others?
Think when you're buying fruit, and do you want to answer this, Debbie, or do you want me to?
Well, I do have an answer, and then you can add. The answer is yes. There are things, depending on things that have skin that can absorb the chemicals quicker. Like, for instance, an avocado has a hard skin, so melons have harder skin. So you're better off, if you're going to buy non-organic, go for the things that have sort of protection over the parts that you eat. And the other thing is vegetable wash. I use fruit and vegetable wash, an organic fruit and vegetable wash, not just water, because water is another thing that, that's a whole other show. And I know you've done a podcast on that. But water with this spray gets off that extra film, But I only buy fruits and vegetables of things that I'm biting right into the skin also. And do you want to add to that, T?
Yeah, I was going to say that banana is another one. So, and Environmental Working Group also has a guide on the top 15. I think it's called the Clean 15 that they put out every year, that if you can't buy organic, then start with those top 15. Strawberries, I would always buy organic, just like Debbie said, because they soak in.
Yeah, they're like a sponge.
The pesticides.
They're like a sponge.
My other big one is grapes and wine. I am a huge organic wine.
Me too.
Advocate.
We're actually going to take a break to Dry Farm Wines, which is an organic
Perfect.
wine. Yeah, Dry Farm Wines is one of my sponsors, so it's so funny. You know, Marie, thank you so much. It's Maria, right? Are you there?
Maria, yep.
Thank you so much. The valuable questions. We have another caller coming in right now. So we'll thank you, Maria. And caller, are you there? We're switching out. Caller, are you there? Hi, who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Jen Stamp calling from Park City, Utah.
Ooh, welcome. Jen, you said, is your first name?
It is.
Hi, Jen. Welcome to the show. Are you listening to the show?
Thanks, and thanks for being such a champion of this. I think such an important topic. And I try to do my little bit educating friends and family. But the other day, my girlfriend came to visit, and I picked her up at the airport. She got into my car, and it stunk up the whole car. And since she was one of my closest friends, I said, "You stink terribly. I have a sore throat. My eyes are watering. What detergent are you using?" And she said, "It's not my detergent. I think it's from the plane." And I think there's such an overzealous use of disinfectants. And people are using, like when I go into an Uber, people are using the air fresheners. And disgusting. A lot of times when I'm at the gym, people's clothes will reek of dryer sheets, which I just absolutely think are appalling. So my question is, how do I tactfully tell someone or share my concern or nicely say, "Hey, this is your health at risk"? And, close friends, it's easy, but how do you do it to people that are not as close as best friends?
Good question. Answer that one.
Ooh, that's a tough one, but it's not impossible. It is that you have to talk to them, talk with them, not to them. And so you have to show your concern about, just so they know, that ask them what type of laundry detergent they use. Typically it's the laundry detergent, right? Laundry detergent or dryer sheets. I know exactly what you're talking about, Jen, because I'm in this situation so many times, and it's so hard for me not to be forceful with them, but to offer alternatives. And did you know that there's so many toxic chemicals that are in laundry detergent, even if it says all and free, even if it says clear, but just so you know, you are putting these chemicals all over your body that could be causing health issues that you don't even know about yet, or down the road, that you should, if you want to see, I have some really great laundry detergent I've used that I know that is approved and certified, to be not toxic, but it's all about educating. So if you can do one thing about helping somebody, you have made a good a change in their life. And the amount of people that I have done this for that eventually come back and say, "I can't believe I used dryer sheets for that long," because their mind is programmed to think that that fragrance is good, and they do not know that it's not good. And what I've often done is later on, I will take an article or something so they can see, like, "Hey, read this article because this will show you what I was kind of talking about the other day," because the backup knowledge is always important for people to see, that it's not just you telling them what you think. And it's difficult. It's very, I tread, very lightly with people, because sometimes people look at you like you've got
they don't
two
want to
heads.
know. But
Yeah, right.
you and I have it a little bit easier because we're health coaches, we're practitioners,
Right.
and they know if they, we kind of have, we kind of have a pass in that respect, that we can kind of go there, and then I always do send the backup. But for the average person this is not their business, you have to be a little more tactful. But that's a great suggestion in a great way. Did that help you, Jen? Did that give you some ideas on how to approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll even make like a little kind note and hand it to them in an envelope when I get out of the Uber.
Yeah.
Oh, the Uber, I can talk to you about Uber. Now you can Uber. I've had actually conversations with the Uber. I've written them, reached out to them, because you can suggest before you get in that vehicle that they take out their whatever the plugins. They all have these plugins.
Yeah,
It's like,
or the
oh my
little
God,
things that hang from the...
hang. Oh my God. And you can, they said you have to, and there's some, I'm not taking Ubers so much lately, but I know you can do that. So just remember that. Or wear your mask.
Yeah, you know what now we can wear our masks. You know what I do, and I haven't taken an Uber since the pandemic either, but you know what I do? I get in an Uber and roll down the window instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
Instantly roll down the
Yes.
window every time,
Yeah.
even before the pandemic, obviously, but even just if there is an ascent, even if they're not using ascent, I always roll, because I keep a window open in my car all the time.
Yeah,
because even though
absolutely.
I have one
Well,
of those.
Debbie, that's because you,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Debbie, you have beautiful hair that can take being windblown.
Yes, thank you. But I mean, I don't keep it all the way down, but like my car is parked outside the studio, and I have it open a crack, and I keep it open a crack even if I have the air conditioner on or a heater, just to keep the fresh air in. So the number one takeaway from today's show should be fresh air, fresh
Absolutely.
as possible. Thank you so much, Jen, for your time and your call and for listening. And we've got roughly 10 minutes left, so we're going to keep on this path of good information and education about toxins. So thank you so much.
And thank you guys, both you. Thank you.
Have a great
thank you,
day,
Jen.
the rest of your day. Bye now. So we're going to take one more commercial. This is my Dry Farm Wine sponsor, and this kind of says it all. So we'll be right back after this message. I have been a wine enthusiast for many decades. But for a while, I had to stop drinking wine because of the sleepless nights and the headaches that I would have in the morning, even after only one glass. Does this sound familiar? So for the past 5 years, and since the start of my show, I've been looking for a healthy wine, and finally I found the answer I've been looking for: Dry Farm wines. Dry Farm wines are lab tested for purity, just 12.5% alcohol or less, 0.15 grams of sugar or less per glass, very low sulfites, and free of toxic additives. Dry Farm wines are dry farmed with healthy, biodiverse soil, and the taste, bright and vibrant due to no manipulation. I can't say enough about the amazing wines that I've tried. And now you too can drink wine and not worry about how it is negatively affecting your health. Just go to dryfarmwines.com/balanced life by Debbie, so you too can taste the love put into every bottle. There you have it. There's the wine that I promote. Because, being a wine enthusiast, I had to find a way, and I did.
Love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Good.
I look forward to trying Dry Farm
Yeah,
wines,
go to that
because
link.
I will. I definitely will, because I'm a huge red wine lover, and I will definitely try Dry Farm.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Todd White is the CEO, and I did a show with him. So go to my YouTube channel and find the show. So all the information's there. But you'll find it's interesting because he curates wines from all over the world, none of which are in California, which are some of our biggest vineyards. And he talks about why. So, when talk about chemicals and toxins, and things that could just make you so sick over time, he really gets into it. So I highly recommend that show. My YouTube channel for the audience is Balanced Life by Debbie YouTube. So I have that show on there. I think I'm over 60 shows of just my show, but I have over 150 shows that I've done through the years. So this is one good one, a really good one to go, kind of link to what we're talking about. I am on my Facebook page where we're streaming live, and I have a question from one of our viewers, and it's from Joelle, and she says, I'm worried about chemicals in makeup and have been seeing a lot about some of them causing cancer. How do I avoid these chemicals? Which we've talked about a little bit and hopefully answered a little bit of what her concern is. But do you have any other things to say? We really didn't talk about makeup. We did talk about products on our skin. But makeup, really can't be avoided. So
No, makeup can't be avoided, and we all have our favorite makeups. And unfortunately, many of those favorite makeups have many toxic ingredients in them that you're putting on your lips, your mascara, your eyeliner, your blush, your foundation, and it's a huge issue. And actually, there's some laws that are going to be passed soon. Thanks to California, who started the crusade, and then New York State is following. And once those two states start passing some of these laws, that all the other states will follow. And you're going to start seeing this a lot in the news, because there is a new law trying to go before Congress that is going to regulate the toxic chemicals that are being allowed. Not only allowed, they don't, there's no regulations in them, and they're putting all these chemicals in the products. So it's same thing we mentioned regarding any of the lotions, shampoos, any of the other products. You really have to start looking at ingredients. You don't ever think to look at ingredients for makeup, but there are so many that are just cancer causing. There's formaldehyde, there's ammonia. I mean, it is unbelievable how much that we as women can be putting on our skin that are causing skin cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer. So it's overwhelming, but it's just start one thing at a time. Yeah, look at what do you use the most.
Yeah.
What are you putting on your skin the most? Your lotion, you start looking at those ingredients.
Yeah. I mean, I get my nails done, and I buy my own organic nail polish, from top coat to polish to bottom coat to primer, polish and top coat, both for my nails and because you're right, formaldehyde is a huge component. And the same thing, I use this oil, all natural base nail polish remover. Don't use, and because I know how cumulative this stuff is. You're not going to get sick, 1, 2, 3 times over even a couple of years, but over a lifetime, when you start tracing back, you can bet those carcinogens have seeped into your bloodstream and have aided or will be the cause. Another thing that we talk about, and we're winding down here, but another thing that we talk about, sunscreen is so important because of the dangers of the sun, even though the vitamin D we get from the sun is really important, but our skin needs to be protected. But sunscreen, the way it gets lathered on, could be very, very lethal because it absorbs into our bloodstream. So again, using the apps and websites to find out what are the good, healthy sunscreens. I live in Southern California. We're going through heat wave after heat wave over here. And people, just walking down the street, we need our sunscreen on. So I think that is a number one product for both men and women that are so important to be researched on what is going to protect me from the sun, but also what's going to protect me from all of those toxic chemicals. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and there's alternatives out there. So the copper tones and ones you buy on the shelf at commercial, typically those ones are not very healthy. There are alternatives out there. And I always say, when I look at sunscreen and people are putting those on their kids and babies, it's like you're baking in chemicals into their skin. Yeah. And so many of them are cancer causing. And these products are not tested to be safe for you. They're not being tested for long-term safety. They're being tested for skin irritation. Those chemicals are not being tested to see if they are going to give you cancer or if they're going to wreak havoc on your immune system or your endocrine cycle or your sperm count. We didn't even talk about sperm count and all that too, but the FDA only steps in when people actually complain about the product because they suspect it harmed them. Prior to that, the onus is really on the company alone.
Yeah.
Well, the company's not going to come out and say our product causes cancer. Never is that going to happen. But people think the FDA is protecting us in that way, and if they're not.
They're not. And that is extremely frustrating. So we are winding down. I want to get to first ways people can get in touch with you, because this is a conversation that's ongoing. We really have to do this again and zero in. It's too big of a subject. It's so huge. And that's why what you're doing is so valuable and so important, and the gratitude is beyond. How can people work with you? What is your website, and what do you have coming up? And then we'll leave with some final words of wisdom.
Sure. Thank you. Website is thegreenlivinggurus.com, and Instagram, Facebook, The Green Living Gurus, and all my contact information is on there. You can email me at info@greenlivinggurus.
Can you put that up on the screen for us, Sean? So, yeah, okay, it's fine. You do. It just didn't get loaded in. All right, so, but yeah, greenlivinggurus.com is the way to reach you.
And there's only one Green Living Guru out there, and so it won't be hard to find me. I have a podcast. I have a lot of information, free information out there that I talk about all week long, about all these different chemicals, and not just about cancer, fertility and thyroid, just, not fun stuff, but great information. And I try to keep it light because this is such a heavy topic, and we want to give informative advice to you.
Yes, and you do, and that's how I found you, and I was so glad and happy that you accepted the invitation to be my guest today and be on the show. Do you have anything coming up that you want the audience to know about? Do you work with groups, or you just more individually with people to help them be more prepared and educated within their home and what they do on their bodies, correct?
Yeah, my services right now are on the website. I do one-on-ones right now, but I am going to be launching an online program sometime in the fall that I can do group. A lot of people, I want to help as many people as possible, so I'm going to try to do group programs. And then out of frustration over the past year, I have developed my own line of cleaning supplies. And my first one's coming out in probably about a month. It's Thereses Organics, and it's going to be an all-purpose spray, and then 3 room sprays, and then we're going to add products along the line as we get
I love
into
that.
it all.
That's fabulous. I love that. Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. My sister came in the house and she's like, oh my God, I could spray this on my body. And she's got an autoimmune disease, and it's all it is essential oils and vinegar and water. And I put all my ingredients on the label. There's no trade secret.
Yeah, and no chemicals that you can't explain. Yeah,
none. And
I love that.
Yeah, so the essential oils I use are all antibacterial, and they protect your immune system. They're not going to harm it. So
I love that. That's great.
Yeah,
and
it's
some
exciting.
final thoughts, final words of wisdom for my audience.
The most important thing is take it slow, one step at a time, maybe once a week. Make a switch out. I do this Transformation Tuesday. Today's was get away from the sugar in your drink. Do fruit infused water. Switch out one a month even. Mm-hmm. Look at your shampoo, use it up, but say, okay, that's enough. I'm going to get new shampoo or deodorant, and do some research on it, or a health coach, hire Debbie, or look at my Instagram. You'll see information out there. It's really educating yourself and really turning that label around and looking at it and the triggers are going to start telling you like, oh, I shouldn't buy that.
Change isn't always easy. Right. But change is very attainable. And the way to do it is just one little step at a time. It's, when I help people on their weight loss journeys, it's looking at everything in their lives and going through it one step at a time. It's the same way you would hit if you were in debt, and you just kind of chisel away at it slowly but surely, one step at a time, and eventually it's a bigger picture. And that's true. I love that advice. I'm so glad and happy to have you with us today. And what great information. I hope you guys found value in this. I know I learned a few things. It's great. And keep following me. I'm balancelifebydebbie.com. Get in touch with me. Go to my Facebook page. I'll get right back to you, and we will keep this conversation going. And in the meantime, I want you to go out and keep finding those conversations that connect to a healthier you. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks so much. See you next time. 2 weeks.